Hey, happy December, everybody. I hope the holidays are treating you well and you're eating some grub and staying inside where it's warm if you live somewhere cold like I fucking do and you're watching Christmas movies. I'm going to quickly shout out 8-Bit Christmas for any of you that have not checked that one out yet. It's only a couple of years old. I don't even remember what service it's on now, but it's all about a kid and a bunch of other kids trying to get their hands on an NES back in the 80s, and it has worked its way into my top 5 Christmas movies. I highly recommend it if you're a gamer who also likes Christmas. Like I assume a majority of you listening to this show are and do. Anyways, listen, I've decided, I know I took some time off in November. It was good, but it just didn't really quite do the job. So I'm going to kind of shut things down for the rest of 2024, work on some games for the show. I will still plunk out the occasional podcast over on Patreon, and we're still hoping to do Mega Man Battle Network here on Remember the Game next week. But we won't really get back to our regularly scheduled programming until January. Never fear, though. I'll still be dropping something here every Wednesday for you to listen to because, you know, it's my job, right? This week, I thought I'd give you a little glimpse at The Rambling Idiot. This is one of the shows we offer over on Patreon, and it's kind of my vlogging podcast where I try to stay away from video games. I talk about comedy, sports, WWE, real life, whatever I have going on, all kinds of stuff. And this, by popular demand, was one where I talked about board games. I'm a bit of a board game nerd. I don't play as many now as I did when I was a kid, but I'm assuming some of you listening to this are nerds like me as well and enjoy the whole rolling the dice and moving around and what have you. So enjoy this week's episode of The Rambling Idiot. This went live about a year ago, last January. I count down my favorite board games, and then I get a little bit into the Royal Rumble and Vince McMahon and all that kind of stuff as well. So I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you so much for all the support here in 2024 and all the kind words regarding me and my time off. It's needed. I appreciate it. And I promise we'll be back in 2025, almost at 2021. We'll be back in 2025 with a whole nother slab of these dumb podcasts, okay? Take it easy, everybody. Happy holidays. Enjoy the episode. Cheers. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Rambling Idiot podcast for January 30th, 2024. The home stretch, man. It is almost that freak month, February. My name is Adam Blank, and if you're hearing this, watching this, or checking this out live on a stream, you're a junior executive vice president or higher at patreon.com. You know, remember the game industry's building thing. You work up on the high floors with me and Molly and Shaylee and Francis, which is Molly's toy unicorn, who is our official treasurer, and everybody else that's involved. I hope you all had a great weekend. I did. I honestly did not do dick all. It was a very laid back weekend, which was fucking pretty solid. We recorded a couple of podcasts. Mark and I actually it was pretty fun. On Sunday night, Mark and I recorded the season 2 ranking episode of Purple Monkey Dishwasher. So that's the one that'll be going live this upcoming, like a week from a week from the day I'm recording this. Anyway, next week. And we both had a couple of drinks while we were doing it. It was we got a little frisky. It was a good time. That was fun. We also recorded the Donkey Kong Country 3 episode. Not me and Mark, but me and the guests for that episode, Carbon Fiber Zombie. So you'll hear that on Wednesday. Honestly, outside of those, I plugged away at my backlog. I played with some Lego, and I just watched football and watched the Royal Rumble and did laundry. It was a fucking really laid back, nice, chill weekend, which honestly, after losing all my money and sanity and health in Vegas, was a good thing. And it's finally above zero here in Edmonton after that fucking spell of minus 40. So it's just so nice to be able to go for walks again. It's muddy and gross out there, but just the fresh air and the way the cool air hits your face and the sunshine. And I say it all the time, but like, I don't think people, and I know some of you are those people, I don't think people that live in places that don't get winter, you don't appreciate nice weather as much as the rest of us. Living somewhere where it can be 30, 40 below for 3 months, and it's like, now we're finally past that halfway point. So now, like, dude, at its worst times in Edmonton, the sun doesn't come up till like 8 something, and it's down before 5 o'clock. And now we're finally to that point where the sun's getting up a little earlier, staying up a little longer, and it's just, oh man. And then I'm just in a good mood. I like walking. That's my favorite thing about having a dog. I mean, I love everything about Molly, but just the excuse to get out and go for walks. It's just like a reset anytime I want. So anyways, that's it for the weather. Nobody cares about the weather. This week, I'm not really going to talk too much about what I've been up to because I really haven't been up to very much. We're going to talk about board games. That actually, if you don't know, my favorite board games actually won the topic poll for Expansion Pass, but some people said, hey, I'd prefer it if you kept Expansion Pass to video games. I feel the same way. So I actually decided to move that topic here. And I could swear that there was a Rambling Idiot where I talked about my favorite board games. But if there is, I cannot find it. And I looked it up. This is episode, if I'm not mistaken, this is episode 149 of The Rambling Idiot, which is fucking wild. I didn't think I had done that many. So apologies if I'm repeating myself and we've already talked board games. Also, apologies if you can hear my fan. It's hot in here today, so I got to turn the heat down in the house now that it's nice out. So I'm turning my fan on. But anyway, so apologies if I've already talked about board games, but we are going to talk about them in here. I'm going to talk about just some games I love growing up, some of my favorites. I've played a ton of board games in my life, and I'll wrap it up with my personal top 10. Then we'll get into leftovers. And then I'll talk wrestling, because I know not everybody cares about wrestling, so I'm going to sneak it in at the end of the show. I'm going to hit you with my Royal Rumble thoughts. And then people have been asking me, what do you think about the Vince McMahon situation? What do you think about WWE signing with Netflix? I'll talk about both of those, along with my Royal Rumble review after leftovers, which we'll talk about after board games, which we'll talk about right now. I fucking love board games. Growing up, I was almost as obsessed with them as I was with video games. It was like when I went to the toy store, there were 3 aisles. There was the video games, there were the action figures, and there were the board games. And I could just, honestly, I don't know if anyone else feels like this, I could just pick up boxes and just look at the back of board game boxes for hours. And it's funny because we used to have to decide on our video games based on the cover art and maybe the description on the back if you were at a place where you could see the back of the box. But board games were the same thing. And they used to be like, I can still hear commercials for like Wake Up Daddy, Mousetrap, 13 Dead End Drive, Shark Attack. Like, board games were a big fucking deal back then. I feel like they've gotten a lot more complicated since I was a kid, but maybe they were complicated back when I was a kid and I just never played the complicated ones. I don't know. I fucking love them. Still out of my mom and dad's, they have a shelf full of our old board games downstairs, and we never really play them anymore, but I would love to. I wish that... See, the problem now is I love board games and most of my friends don't. I don't have a lot of friends anymore, at least that I see in person. And the ones I do have, just like, I'd rather not do that, a lot of them. So it sucks. Like, Shaylee likes them in small doses, but in the rare instances where we actually manage to get a crew of our friends together, board games usually fall pretty far down the list of options, unfortunately. I have kicked around starting like a Monopoly League in the past because I fucking love that game. We've gone to board game cafes and I always have a great time. The only thing that frustrates me about playing board games, especially as an adult, is trying to teach other people how to play board games. And I always, and my friends can fucking admit to that, I always end up being the one that has to read the instructions and figure out how to play. And while I'm trying to explain it, people are oh my God, is that not the most infuriating thing when you're trying to teach someone how to play a game? And you're like, okay, the objective of the game is to be the first one to get 25 points. And then right away, someone will pick up like a token on the table and be like, so what does this do? And it's like, do you not think I'm going to fucking get to that? You just shut the... Ooh, or they don't listen because they're talking to each other or looking at their phones. And then when there's time to play, they're like, wait, what does this do? And I'm like, oh no, you had your fucking chance when I was explaining it. If you want me to teach you how to play the game, fucking listen. There is nothing more infuriating than teaching a group of drunk adults how to play a board game. It drives me up the fucking wall, which maybe is part of the reason we don't play as many board games as I'd like to too, because I don't have the patience to fucking teach people how to play them anymore. Oh my God. Fuck me. The point is, I love board games. My brother and I, when we were kids, we played board games like every day. So I basically just came up with a list because the goal was to rank my top 10. So I came up with a list and I had about 24 board games that I grew up playing, and a lot of them didn't make the list. A lot of them are really not even that good at games. They're just games I remember playing when I was growing up. For the record, I left card games off the list. Not just like poker, but like Crib, Cards Against Humanity, Choking Hazards or Joking Hazards or whatever the fuck that's called. I'm a big fan of Ramoli. I love some of those games. Maybe we'll do a card game episode on a separate episode of the show. I decided to just stick to board games on this one. So a few of them that I grew up playing that didn't make my top 10. I am going to do an official top 10 list here. Dude, 13 Dead End Drive. I'm sure some of you 90s kids, some of you remember the commercials for 13 Dead End Drive. It was this like fucked up game where it was like a mansion and you could like, it was something like the rich person that owned the mansion died or something, and then you had to be the last person surviving in the mansion to get the money of the person, and so you were trying to take each other out with all these traps that were in the game. Like you could get them to like fall into like a fireplace or something. You could drop a chandelier on their heads. It was a pretty. I haven't played it since I was a little kid. It's probably been 30 years. But I have a lot of fun memories of playing 13 Dead End Drive. Shark Attack was another one. I'm sure some of you remember those commercials. Shark Attack fucking sucked. All it was a loop on a board with a giant battery-operated shark in the middle, and you had to pick one of like 4 fish, like different colored fish, and all that happened was you rolled the dice, and whatever color came up on the dice, that fish got to move a space, and that giant shark would slowly go around the board just like chomping, and if you got eaten by the shark, you were dead, and the last fish alive was the winner. So it was literally just rolling it was so stupid. Shark Attack was stupid. We played a lot of Clue growing up. I don't know, I gotta say, I'm a traditionalist when it comes to my board games. You're going to hear some like old school names on my list coming up shortly. I've never been the world's biggest Clue fan. We played it a lot. We had Simpsons Clue. I think we still have Simpsons Clue, which is pretty funny. I don't know. Because it's like, I know there's a little bit of strategy to Clue, but I also feel like if you get lucky early and like you happen to nail the room, or especially the room, because there's more options than there is the weapon in the person. If you happen to get one of those early, then you have such an advantage it almost breaks the game unless somebody else gets it. So I could take or leave Clue. Plus, walking around on the board sucks. I could just like once you get into a room, you're like, I just want to stay here. Clue is overrated, quite frankly. Clue is overrated. The Game of Life, we used to play a ton of that growing up as kids. I never felt Life was overrated, but it's funny because playing it now, I'm like, this just doesn't feel as fun as it. Maybe it's because when we played it as kids, it was like imagining what it would be like to be a teacher with a $80,000 a year salary in a car with a wife and 3 kids in the back. And now as an adult, I'm like, that sounds like, first of all, like I'm not going to make that much. And I'm going to have tons of debt, and because that game actually makes you take on debt. If you want to like go to school, you have to take out the student loans and everything to get a career. Game of Life is fun once in a while. I haven't played Life in a long time. I will say Payday. Payday is one we grew up playing, and Payday is exponentially better than the Game of Life. Fuck you. Hot take, maybe. I don't know. I haven't played Payday in forever either, but I remember the board was just like a calendar, and it was literally just getting to the end of the month. You had to get through like 6 months or something, and then at the end of the 6 months, whoever had the most money won. And it's been so long since I played it. I just remember that my brother growing up was like a huge fan of the Game of Life, and he was always on me to play it, and I would always try to push him toward Payday instead, because Payday is just a better game than Life. They're both okay, but Payday is better. We used to play Operation a lot. I don't know if was anyone else afraid of being electrocuted by that game as a kid, or was it just me? That game put the fear of electricity into me. I don't know what it is. I fucking hated playing Operation. We would play it. That one where you need to stretch the rubber band from the guy, I remember where it was, like in his leg or something, and you had to get it around one pole and then get it to the other one with those fucking little tweezers, and then when you touch the side, it would just like a fucking bomb would go off. I don't know what it is, because it literally ran on like a AA battery, but I was always just terrified of that game like short-circuiting or something and just electrocuting me. I always struggled with Operation. We used to play it a lot, but I always struggled with that game. It just stressed me the fuck out. I can see myself trying to take that little apple out of him right now and trying to grab it by that stem at the top with those tweezers and then touching it and just like that, and it made me so anxious. Like I had anxiety as a kid playing Operation. Mousetrap, and I know that some people never actually played Mousetrap the way it was meant to be played. We did. I was a stickler for the rules as a kid. We played Mousetrap fair and square. And when you actually play Mousetrap by the rules, Mousetrap's pretty fun. Mousetrap is, it's a stupid game. There's not a lot of strategy to it, but Mousetrap is a good fucking time. This is an ad by BetterHelp. A band once said, "Work sucks, I know." And I think most people agree with them. Workplace stress is now one of the top causes of declining mental health, with 61% of the global workforce experiencing higher than normal levels of stress from their jobs. And while walking away from your job might not be an option, taking a little time every day to focus on yourself and your mental health can make a huge difference. I know in the summer I try to get outside every day, get a little bit of sun, and just enjoy the outdoors. It really helps. at least until my allergies attack, and then it's ugly. It's important to take steps to combat work stress, and therapy can be a huge one. It's not just for overcoming trauma. Therapy can help you define work goals, set some work boundaries, develop coping skills. It's like a cheat code for life. And if you're thinking, man, I'm too busy for therapy, well, look into BetterHelp. They make therapy as convenient as possible. You can meet with one of their over 30,000 therapists online and on your schedule, just like over 5 million people around the world already have done. As the largest online therapy provider in the world, BetterHelp can provide access to mental health professionals with a diverse variety of expertise. Unwind from work with BetterHelp. Our listeners get 10% off their first month at BetterHelp.com/RememberTheGame. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/RememberTheGame. We've had some great partners over the years here at Remember the Game, but I don't know if any of them have hit home for me quite like Hometown Hero does. No pun intended. Don't start. It's a transparent, honest cannabis company that helps people and gives back to those that have served their country at the same time. I mean, come on. As soon as I read about these guys, I knew I wanted to work with them. Hometown Hero is a cannabis company out of Austin, Texas, and they were founded back in 2015 by a U.S. veteran. They have two goals: create premium hemp products that can help everyone, and to support veterans by donating a portion of those profits to organizations set up to take care of those who have served. Hometown Hero products are of the highest quality, and everything they offer is made right there in the U.S. of A. Gummies, caramels, chocolates, drink mix. There's something for everyone. And what's more, their hemp is grown locally in Texas, which is something they should and do take a lot of pride in. And they offer certificates of analysis for everything they sell because they want to be clear that their products are as advertised, both in terms of potency and ingredients. No contaminants, you get what you pay for. Just how they conduct business is enough to get my good eyes' attention. But when you circle back to the fact that the company was founded by a veteran and they put such heavy emphasis on supporting veterans, this isn't just lip service. I'm not reading a script I was given here. I'm proud to have Hometown Hero associated with Remember the Game. Reclaim your evening. Visit hometownhero.com and use code RTG to take 20% off your first purchase. That's hometownhero.com, code RTG for 20% off your first purchase. We had this Mighty Max game, and it sucked. Does anyone else remember Mighty Max? Remember he used to have those like little packages? They were like these little, I don't know what they were, like little containers, because like Polly Pocket, I think, had them too. And they'd like fit in your hand, and then you could open them up, and inside there was like a little play area, and usually you'd have like a little Mighty Max and maybe like a little villain or something. Does anyone else remember Mighty? I hope somebody else out there remembers Mighty Max. But we used to play that a lot, and that board game sucked. It was like all luck, and we'd get stuck at the end where we'd just be rolling dice. And usually we'd just end up quitting. Neither of us would win. But I do remember playing this game, Mighty Max. I remember playing this game, I don't know what it was called, Grape Attack? It came with like Play-Doh, and you use it to make like a grape, and then you had to get your grape through this factory. This grape it looked like a California raisin, like it had arms and legs, and you had to get it through this factory without it getting squished. And if you got squished, you had to go back to start. I don't remember a lot about it, but we used to play that a lot. We used to play Hero Quest. I'm sure a ton of you know Hero Quest. I wish I still owned that game. I fucking love it. My buddy Chris has it, and like we've been talking about playing it for years, and I'm like, you live too far away, and we both never have the same time off. But I would give anything for an afternoon of Hero Quest. We used to play that game like fiends when we were kids. It was, if you never played it, it was like the most, I don't know how to, like, it was kind of like it was classic, like swords and dungeons and magic, and someone played as the villain, and then up to 4 people played as the heroes, and there was like a barbarian, a wizard, a dwarf, and an elf, I think. And some had magic, some just had lots of strength. The dwarf could like see traps and unhook them. And then it came with this awesome board where you'd always start out in one room, and then as you open the door to that one room, which you'd actually put like a little cardboard door on the board. When you opened it, then you could see like down the hall, and you could see closed doors. And then you'd open a door. It'd be up to the dungeon master, whoever was the villain, to like fill the room with all the furniture and enemies and everything. And it came with a ton of furniture and a whole bunch of different missions, and you could design your own missions. And we never once ever finished the game, like going through all the missions. We'd start and stop it like 300 times over. But I have mad love for Hero Quest. And then another one we played a lot when we were kids. Does anyone out there remember Mutant Chronicles? I don't know anybody else that fucking played this game. But it was similar to Hero Quest in the sense that you had this one big board, and you'd put like enemies and furniture and shit on it. But the difference was, instead of it being like Dungeons and Dragons type things, it was like a more modern setting. And one player would be the bad guy, and then the hero players would each pick a pair of 2 heroes, and each pair had powers. Like maybe they had more health, or they could see further, or whatever the fuck. But they all like had like actual guns, and they would shoot like enemies on the board, and as you beat missions, you earned money that you could buy better guns and stuff in between missions, and they go back in. Oh my! And it came with some awesome little miniatures, giant demons and stuff like that. If you've never played it, if you've never heard of it, look it up. I don't know how good it is by today's standards. I would love to get my hands on a copy of it. Mutant Chronicles. We played that game like fiends when we were kids. I fucking loved that game. And then like some modern games that I like. Codenames is fun. I guess it's kind of a card game, but I put Codenames on the list. We used to play a lot of Codenames when we'd all get together. As some of you know, I played over on my friend Tim's Twitch channel once in a while. It's a fun game to play with a group of friends, but you gotta watch out, because fucking every single time that our friends would get together to play Codenames, it would end up in an argument about who was cheating. Because basically one member of each, there's 25 random words on a table, and then one member of each team can see which words are associated with their team, which words are associated with the other team, which words aren't associated with anybody, and then the one word that's an assassin, that'll just kill you. And the key is you have to say like one word and then a number. So you could say like food 3. And now my teammates have to look at the 25 cards on the table and try to figure out which 3 cards I'm trying to get them to pick. And they can pick all 3, or they can pick 1, or they can skip, or whatever the fuck. And the key is to get all of your cards turned over before the other team's cards get turned over. And the problem is that the clue giver isn't allowed to cheat. They're not allowed to give off any extra words or any like facial tics or cues to let the other people know or anything like that. And we've had a lot of instances where we've butted heads over who's cheating and who's giving hints and clues to their teammates and stuff like that. So Codenames is a good time, but look out, because people fucking cheat. Ticket to Ride is also really fun. That's one I enjoy playing to this day. We haven't played it in a long time, but I like it. I'm assuming a lot of you that are board game nerds know what Ticket to Ride is. If you don't, basically, like, you have like a map of, you know, whatever. It could be North America, it could be Europe, wherever the fuck. And you basically have to build like train tracks from city to city under your color, and you have to get like, and they're worth like a certain amount of points depending on how long they are, and the first person to build enough tracks to earn enough points to wins the game. But like, you can use your own tracks to block the other team's tracks, because you can only put one color of train on a track. And there's a lot of strategy. There's a lot of luck to it, but there's a lot of strategy to it too. Ticket to Ride is a good time. We play Survive a lot too. That's my mom and dad's favorite game. Survive is a good time. You start out, you're on like this island, and you fill the middle of the table with a whole bunch of like land pieces. Like, basically there's a whole bunch of little like hexagons or octagons or something in the middle of the table, and you have a whole bunch of land pieces, and some of them are like really, really high up. Like, they're like mountains. Some of them, I think the middle ones are forest, and then I think the bottom ones are sand. And so what you do is you randomly just build a platform in the middle of the board, and then you have a bunch of like little characters, the little stickmen that are your survivors, and basically you have to get them off this island that's sinking in the middle of the board to one of the 4 corners where there's a beach where they can escape. And to get them there, they can either swim or they can get in a boat and row themselves to the land. But as they're trying to leave, every turn, one piece of the island disappears. And it starts with all the sand, because those are the lowest ones closest to the water, then all the forest, and then finally all of the mountains. And eventually all the land is gone. And in the water, there's sharks that'll eat your characters. There's whales that'll destroy your boats. There's sea monsters that'll eat your characters and destroy your boats. And you're trying to kill the other players' little stickmen with those creatures while getting your stickmen to the beaches and the corners without getting attacked by those creatures. And then at the end, whoever has the most points wins. Survive is that's a fun game to play with your friends. That's a lot of fun. I have the Ghostbusters game that came out a few years ago. It's on Kickstarter. I want to love it because I love Ghostbusters, and it looks great. And it comes with like little miniatures for the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man and Slimer and the Ecto-1. And obviously, they tried to make a dungeon crawling co-op Ghostbusters game. You play as Egon, Peter, Ray, and Winston, and they each have their own like every time Peter gets slimed, he gets health back. Winston gets more. It's fucking kind of a shitty power. Winston gets more experience points every time he deposits Ghost into the trap. I think Ray can heal his teammates, and I don't remember what Egon's power is. But then as you catch ghosts, they earn experience points and level up and get more powers. And it should be a lot of fun because it's basically PvE, and you work with your friends against the game itself. But at the end of the day, the ghosts are just completely randomized. They just move based on where the dice roll. And so there's really minimal strategy to it. It's a lot of just hoping you get the right rolls. It sounds a lot cooler than it is, but it's a lot better than the real Ghostbusters board game I used to play as a kid. So it's all right. It's nice to look at, but it's okay. And now I still haven't gotten to my top 10, and we'll do that now. For the record, number 11, the last one I cut from my list, and I hated to do it, is this game Shayla and I started playing over the pandemic called Splendor. And if you don't know it, there's a whole bunch of cards in the middle of the table, and you need to have a certain number of jewels to collect a card. And there's like red jewels, white, blue, green, brown. Red, white, blue, green, brown. Jewels, which are represented by these little red, white, blue, green, and brown poker chips. And so on your turn, you can take a couple of poker chips from the bank and add them to your stack. And then when you have enough poker chips in your hand to, like, say a card is sitting on the table and it needs one red, one blue, and one green. You give up a red, blue, and a green poker chip and you add that card to your hand, which stays face up on the table. Every card has a jewel on it. So say that card has a white jewel on it. Now every turn I have one white. I don't need a white poker chip. I have one jewel that's like never ends. It's always there. It's like an infinite supply of this one white jewel. And then eventually you start building up enough jewels to buy cards that have point values on them. And the first one to get to, like, I think it's 12 points or something wins. So it's really basic, but there's a lot of strategy to it. I think it'd be a lot more fun with more players. We've only ever played it against each other. But Splendor is a good time. So that's my number 11. I really wanted to put it in here. So top 10. Let's do this thing. Number 10 on my list of my 10 favorite board games of all time is one we played all the time growing up. This is absolutely a nostalgia pick. It's called Atmosphere. But it's not spelled like regular atmosphere. It's ATMOSFEAR. Like, ooh, fear. And I believe it came out in other places in the world called Nightmare, I think. But basically what it was, we used to play it all the time when we were kids. You had to put this VHS tape in, and it was like an hour-long tape with this guy. I can't remember what his name was. Might have been the gatekeeper. I don't remember what his name was. But basically he had like glowing green eyes, and he wore this blue cloak. He was really creepy. And you had 1 hour to basically go to 6 different territories of this board, and it's this creepy fucking board, and collect one key from each of the 6 areas. And it was like each one was a different color, and each key gave you a different ability depending on which character you were playing as. They were all the similar abilities, but like different keys gave you, like, a red key might give me the ability to roll 2 dice. It might give you the ability to escape from a black hole, for example. And so you have to go around this board and collect one of each key, and then get out of the game and like get to the center hub. And then I think you had to roll like a 6 or something to beat the game. But while you're playing it, this VHS tape is on for 1 hour because you have 1 hour to play, and it's counting down. And every once in a while, the VCR will just, like, that guy will just pop up on the screen and be like, "Stop. Whose turn is it next?" And then he might give you something good, like go again. He might give you something bad, like you're banished to a black hole. Maybe you have to give up a key or something. And the only problem with it was, as we played it a lot, we got to know what times everything would pop up on the VCR. So then it kind of became like, oh, fuck, I got to hurry up and get my turn done because I know he's about to pop up and give something bad. Or I'm going to take my time on my turn because I know he's about to pop up and do something good. So we did eventually wear out the VCR, but like the novelty of it. But Atmosphere I loved that game. So that's number 10. Number 9 is a modern game some of you have probably played called Zombies. You build this massive city. There's tons of expansions and stuff. Basically, you draw a new tile every time it's your turn and add it to the city. And the objective of the game is to either kill 25 zombies or get to the helicopter pad and escape. And you can either work together or work against each other. As you go into buildings, you can find extra weapons. You can find health. You can find bullets for your ammo. There's tons of, dude, by the time the game is done, like, the board is just full of zombies and shit. Zombies is a good time with your friends because it can turn into some pretty big fights. We've had some good times with Zombies. So I don't have much else to add to it. If you've never played it, look it up. Zombies is fucking awesome. Number 8 is a classic. It's one of my favorite games of all time. It's Risk. I think I've only ever finished one game of Risk in person. I've played a bunch of it online. I think I've only ever finished it in person once. Shaylee and I have started a few games, and it ends up falling apart. But I just genuinely think Risk is as good as Monopoly. The problem is Risk is too long. And Monopoly's not. We'll talk Monopoly later. People shit on Monopoly, but Monopoly's not that long if you play it by the rules and play it fair and square. Risk can go for fucking days. So great times. Me and my friends have started. I remember in high school we used to play Risk regularly, and we never finish a game because it would end up turning into a fight because someone would break an alliance, usually me. But Risk is awesome. I love Risk. Number 7 is this another one we started playing during the pandemic called Welcome To. Dude, if you've never played it, look this one up. It's dope. Basically what it is everyone that's playing gets a separate grid, and it's like a building plan for like a new neighborhood with a bunch of houses on it. And then every turn, 3 cards get flipped over in the middle of the table. And they get put beside their decks. And on the other side of each card is a house number. And so it might be like a pool, a park, and a fence. And then the house numbers of like 10, 6, and 8. You can use one of those 3 any way you want on your map to fill out your neighborhood. But the house, you have to number a house every turn, and you can never number houses out of order. So if you have like 8 houses in a row and you draw the number 8, then if you put that right at the end of your row, you have to draw 1 through 7 to fill that in. Whereas if you put like a 12 up there, you don't have to go in order. You just have to keep them growing. So you could put like an 8 beside a 12. You just can't put an 8 on the other side of the 12. And then like the parks are worth extra points. Pools are worth extra points. You build fences to get extra points. It's hard to explain without playing it. But at the end of the day, it's really fun because when the game is over, you add up who had the highest scoring neighborhood. But you all have the exact same options on the table to build your neighborhood. So it comes down to who utilizes those assets best. Welcome To is a really fun game. Shayla and I play that one quite a bit, actually. Probably the one we play the most on this list. Welcome To is awesome. Number 6 is Scotland Yard. I'm sure most of you are diehards, the board gamers, have at least played it. Basically, it's like one person plays as Mr. X, and you're trying. There's like I don't know if it's like an actual. It's like a map of like I think it's in Europe, and you can use like all these different forms of transportation to get around. You can take like trains, you can take cabs, you can ride your bike, I think, or some shit like that. And basically, you're trying to figure out where Mr. X is. And so Mr. X always has to be giving hints as to what modes of transportation he's using, but it's on him to just kind of keep track of where he is on the board. And then the other players all have to work together to figure out where Mr. X is before like 30 turns ends or something. And then it's out of time. I haven't played it in quite a few years, but Scotland Yard's a lot of fun. The only reason I didn't crack my top 5 is because I think it's way more fun when you're Mr. X and only one person can be Mr. X. But Scotland Yard is it's a really fun team game. It's good times. Number 5 on my list is Crokinole. I'm sure some of you have never heard of it. I don't know if it's a Canadian game or not. Basically, Crokinole, you have like a giant wooden board on the table, and there is a little divot in the very center of it. And each player has a certain number of these little discs, and you go back and forth, one turn each, and you flick the little discs. And if you get it right dead center and it falls into that little groove, you get like 20 points and you remove it from the game. Otherwise, you just keep flicking discs back and forth, trying to knock your opponent's discs out of the way. And when all the discs have been flicked, then you get points based on what sections, because it's like the middle section is worth like 15 and then 10 and then 5, then you fall off the board, and then that divot in the middle is worth 20. So you're flicking these discs, and it just comes down to who gets the most points at the end. And I'll be honest, like I own Shaylee's soul at Crokinole. She gets so mad because I beat her a lot. But it's a really, look it up. And there's these it's all about hand-eye, man. Crokinole is fucking awesome. It's like curling, but on a tabletop. I love Crokinole. Number 4, Settlers of Catan. I'm assuming most of you know what Settlers of Catan is. If you don't, I honestly would recommend looking it up because it'll do a better job explaining it than I will. Basically, you have to build like a community, and you have to get to like 10 points, which you earn by building different things in your community and stuff like that. And it's a lot of like gathering resources and trading resources with each other because you need different resources to build different things to earn different points. I love trading games like this, and Settlers of Catan is just I love that. Shaylee doesn't like to play with me because I get too intense, but that's just because I'm better at it than her, and I'll tell her that to her face. I'm not that scared of her. Number 3 is chess. Nothing else to be said. I don't play it as often as I used to. I know some of you have started playing in the Discord. I should get in on there. I think chess is the greatest board game ever made. There's no luck. It's 100% skill, and I'm all for it. I love chess. So that's number 3. Number 2 is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shadows of the Past. It was a game that was on Kickstarter like a decade ago. It's like a dungeon crawler where you play as the Ninja Turtles, and one person plays as the villains, and you have a board that you're building like maps on and stuff. And each of the 4 turtles have their own strengths and weaknesses. And what's really cool about it is each turtle has like 3 dice you roll, and then once you roll your 3 dice, if you're playing as Leo, Mikey, or Donnie, you actually get to take 1 dice from the 2 turtles, the one on your left and the one on your right. You get to take 1 dice from them to fill out your 5 dice. And then your 5, so you have 5 dice total. The 3 you rolled plus the 1 you took from each of your players on your left and your right. And the 5 dice decide how much you can move, how much you can attack, how much you can defend, etc. Raphael has 6 dice instead of 3, but he can't take them from anybody else. So he gets more dice than anyone, but he's stuck by himself. And then each turtle also has superpowers they can use as they play. It's a really, really good dungeon crawling game featuring the Ninja Turtles. And it doesn't matter who wins a mission. If it's the bad guy, like the Foot Clan or the Turtles, the game carries on and goes to a different mission based on who won, which is fucking awesome. The only problem with it is it is really complicated to explain to people. It's very intimidating to look at. And every time I've tried to play it with my friends, they end up tapping out and saying it's too complicated and won't play it with me. And number 1, I think all of you knew this, my favorite board game of all time is Monopoly. It will always be my favorite. I'm a Monopoly traditionalist. I play with all the original rules. No free parking. No double money if you land on go. If someone doesn't want to buy something, you auction it off. I play with I do get a little bit douchey. Like, I'll watch your property for $1 and stuff like that, but minor things I don't like any big game-breaking changes to the game. And if you play Monopoly by its actual rules, you can usually wrap a game up within a couple hours. And it's so much fun. I genuinely considered buying a Monopoly or starting a Monopoly League at one point because a few of my friends I know like Monopoly too. It's just so hard to get everybody together to play. And Shaylee will not play it with me because I am an asshole at Monopoly. I am vicious. But that's the way it's meant to be played. That's how you build a Monopoly. You don't win friends with salad. God damn it. So that's it. For those of you that are wondering, that is my top 10 board game list of all time. I love board games. I should play more of them. I wish I had more friends. And if we already covered this once, I apologize. But everyone kept asking for it, so I said, fuck it, let's do it. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to rip through some leftovers, and then I'll quickly give you my thoughts on everything WWE over the last couple of weeks, okay? These are leftovers. These were comments submitted for last week's Blowing in the Cartridge that didn't get in. I'm sneaking them in now. It's That Nerd James said, with the Royal Rumble coming up this weekend, what is your top 3 favorite Rumble matches? For me, it's 92, 99, and 2001. I actually agree with 92 and 99. I like both those Rumbles a lot. 92, I still think is the GOAT. 99, that was the one where Vince won because he fucked over Austin at the end. I quite enjoyed that Rumble. And then I actually, I really enjoyed 04, the year Benoit won. And I know that's like I'm not defending Benoit or anything, but I really enjoyed that Rumble, that he went all the way, and then the way he eliminated Big Show at the end. I really enjoyed that Royal Rumble. And I really like the one, I don't remember what year it was, but the one where Batista and Cena eliminated each other at the same time. And it was an accident, and then Vince hurt himself coming out to fix it. That was good times too. But probably 92, 99, and 04 are the 3 that stick out to me as my favorite Rumbles. Old Man Gamer said, I have a question. Last week you called Tyler the Batman of Edmonton. So it got me thinking, what would a Canadian Batman look like? I picture him as a cross between Batman and Casey Jones with his hockey stick. He'd have rocket skates to get him around, and instead of throwing the Batarang, he'd throw maple syrup in their eyes and have a maple leaf for the bat signal. What other gadgets would a Canadian Batman have, and what would be the villains? Maybe Killer Moose. We would definitely have a Killer Moose. No question. And we'd have like an evil RCMP cop, and there would just be like a swarm of beavers that form one giant beaver that fucks him up. As far as other gadgets, he would apologize a lot. Maybe that would be his like big thing. Instead of trying to intimidate enemies, he would just apologize to them. I do like the idea of throwing maple syrup. I do like the idea of the hockey stick. 100%. I'm not going to lie to you. When I posted this into my comments the other day, I had a lot more ideas than I do right now. I don't know. I think Batman, honestly, Batman in Canada would suck because he'd be so far away. Like, our Canada's so spread out. He'd basically be helped to like one city, and that would be it. I always thought that a Canadian villain would be better. Like, I used to have this idea for this stupid Canadian villain that would feud with Spider-Man. He'd be like, "You're going down, eh? You stupid bug." And he would just like, and that's like, he would just be like, he'd be like Bob and Doug McKenzie, and he would just be this crappy villain that never wins. Just like Canada. Plus, like, man, if any American could move to Canada and be Batman because you'd instantly be a billionaire. So, sorry, I kind of butchered that one. I had better ideas, and it's been a week, and I forgot them all. Insert clever pun. Said, if you didn't do the podcast, would you still play so many of the games you're interested in at or near release? The blankies put into perspective for me how many games from 2023 I'm interested in, and I have no doubt I'll get around to eventually, but didn't buy or play yet since I've got so much in my backlog. The only 2023 game I played was Lies of P out of Nowhere, which was an impulse Game Pass download after I heard it was a dark Pinocchio Souls-like, and I was baffled as to what that could possibly look like. Also, the only Souls-like I put real time in actually was gripped by the setting, and I liked that there was more on the linear, that it was more on the linear side. I heard Lies of P was awesome. No, well, you know what? I do think that I'd be playing frankly, I think I'd be playing more modern games at the day and time of release without the podcast. Because I spend so much of my gaming time working on old games for the podcast that I haven't gotten to so many modern games that I want to play. So honestly, I think I'd be playing more modern games at or near release if it wasn't for Remember the Game, because I'd have more time to, like, that'd be all my gaming time would just be working on modern games that I want to play. Instead, I'm always working on something else for the backlog. Like, I'd be done Cyberpunk, I'd be done the Mega Man Battle Network collection I would have already played. I would have probably played Fire Emblem Engage. I would have played Have a Nice Death. I would have played Cult of the Lamb. Like, there's so many more I would have gotten into already if I'd had time. So I think it'd be the opposite. Kugda said, have you ever read the book Jurassic Park? I've been in love with the movie ever since I first saw it, and while I bought the book years ago, I never made the time to read it until this month, and oh my god, did I miss out. I was so in love with this book, and I was afraid that it would ruin the movie for me, but after I finished it, I rewatched the movie again, and I can safely say that both are equally amazing in their own right. While the overall plot stays the same, there are massive differences in the book that, knowing the outcome, I was still thoroughly enthralled by the surprises. If you carve out the time to read the book, you won't be disappointed. It was an amazingly refreshing ride through a story and world that I quite frankly have seen too many times to count. Yes, I have read both Jurassic Park and The Lost World numerous times, and I actually prefer them to the movies. I like the movies too, but I actually prefer the books. Kugda, if you liked Jurassic Park, read The Lost World. I think it's way better than the movie is. It's so fucking good. I love both those books. I think they're two of the best books I've ever read. Yeah, 100%. And Bad Fish said, hey Adam, I'm hoping hope your vacay was kick-ass. It was, thanks. Now, can you settle a 2-year argument between myself and my friend Dustin the Doblin? The question is, can you grab a crack? His argument is yes, because you can grab the edges of a crack and that counts. But to me, the entire existence of a crack is the absence of a space. So how can you grab what's not there? Imagine a giant crack in the side of a cliff. There's no grabbing that. What say you? Are you on the side of logic or a crack grabbing goblin like the Doblin? Feel free to put this on the Discord for the rest of the community to vote. Thank you. We're doing the tough work here to remember the game. No, you can't grab a crack. You can grab the edges of whatever is cracked, but you can't grab a crack. Dustin, you are a Doblin. You can grab a crack. You cannot grab a crack. God damn it. You can't grab an ass crack. You can grab the cheeks on the side. You can't grab an ass crack. So, thank you everybody that wrote in. Let's quickly bang through some WWE. The 3 stories everyone's talking about right now, the Royal Rumble, the Vince McMahon situation, and the Netflix thing. I'll start with the Netflix thing because that broke first. I'm for it. I know that some people, it's changing the way that you can watch the on-demand content. Here in Canada, watching the on-demand content is a pain in my ass because even when you're subscribed, you have to we have a WWE network on our TV, but then I have to sign into it on an app to then tell it I'm signed in through Shaw and then enter my cable information, and it keeps kicking me out and I have to enter it over and over again to watch the on-demand stuff. So I don't really care. I have Netflix. I'm fine with it. Yeah, put Raw on Netflix. It's fine by me. Quite frankly, I think it could be good for the product because if it's on Netflix, then it shouldn't have commercials. If it doesn't have commercials, then maybe they cut it back to 2 hours, which would be a godsend because I don't remember the last time I just sat down and watched a full 3-hour Monday Night Raw live, other than the one I was at in person a couple years ago, because it's just too long of show. It's just too much. 2 hours is the sweet spot. 3 hours, not for me. So I'm really hoping that the Netflix thing ends up with fewer commercials and or no commercials, which it shouldn't be in theory. And then they can drop it back to a 2-hour show, and hopefully that'll improve it. So, and Netflix is easier to navigate than the WWE Network is, at least here in Canada. So I'm pro the move to Netflix. Bring it on. As far as the Royal Rumble, that happened on Saturday. It was good. I've seen some people be pretty hard on it. I didn't think it was that bad. I just didn't think it was that great. I thought it was a very middle of the road, Royal Rumble. It wasn't, not my favorite, but it wasn't garbage. The problem to me was like the card was just so empty. Like we had the women's Rumble, the 2 matches, and the men's Rumble, and that was it, which I found odd. But I guess we have 2 Rumbles. How much more can you fit in there? So I did think the build-up to the Rumble this year sucked, quite frankly. Outside of like Cody versus CM Punk and maybe Gunther, I didn't feel like there was a lot of build-up, which I was a little disappointed in. And I will say I was disappointed in the lack of surprise entries. Like I'm great. I think it's awesome that the women's Rumble was able to fill the Rumble without relying on legends like Trish and Lita and stuff. I'm down with that. But I wanted like 1 or 2, like, oh my God, it's the Honky Tonk Man or whomever the fuck, like classics. And I don't feel like we got those this year. I was a little disappointed in that. So I actually thought the women's Rumble was better than the men's. I thought the action was a little sloppy, but I really, really enjoyed the ending where you had Jade Cargill, Liv Morgan, and Bayley all on the ring apron. I think we all expected Bayley to win. And they played it safe with both Rumble winners this year, but I'm okay with that because it's going to set up some great stories. And I really enjoyed the ending, and I was intrigued the whole time watching it. And it was good. I really enjoyed it. So shout out to Bayley. Love that girl. Congratulations. And I think the Bayley Io Sky storyline leading up to WrestleMania is going to be like when Batista won the Rumble and then went after Triple H. And I'm here for it. I think it's going to be awesome. So good for Bayley. I thought the women's Rumble was the best women's Rumble they've done so far. I enjoyed it. The Fatal 4-Way for Roman's title was what it was. We all knew that Roman was winning. You're not ending a fucking 4-year-old title reign at the Royal Rumble 2 months before WrestleMania 40. I did like that they were able to get like AJ, LA Knight, and Randy to all hit their finishes on Roman, but then none of them were able to get the pin, which made complete sense. I called it going in that Roman was going to pin AJ, and he did. I know some people are pissed off that Solo interfered, and like that's the same old shit. I know people are sick of Roman's title reign. I just have to say, like, I disagree. I'm genuinely really enjoying it. Is it frustrating that he's not on TV every week? Sure, but I don't watch SmackDown every week anyways, and there's no way that this title reign is going to end on SmackDown as it is. Like it's and every one of his matches for the last like 2 years have just been fucking epic. They've been such build-ups. We all figured it was Drew McIntyre's time and then he lost. We all thought it was Sami Zayn's time and he lost. We all thought it was Cody's time and he lost. I'm really enjoying it because I'm tuning into every one of his title defenses because it feels, and I don't know why it feels different than when Brock was doing it, but it just does. I'm really, really enjoying this Roman title reign. I personally don't want him to lose to Cody at WrestleMania 40, but I'm fairly confident he's going to, and I just can't think of a better way to end it. Even though I don't want it to happen because I want him to beat Hogan's records. It just makes sense. Cody finally getting the story done at the main event of WrestleMania 40. It's going to be a big deal. So, and I just thank fuck. Doesn't look like The Rock is going to be involved, and that's great. Please don't do a triple threat. I love The Rock, but I never want to watch the man wrestle again. He's in Goldberg territory. Go away. So, that match was fine. I thought Logan Paul and Kevin Owens was actually really good. I thought the finish with the brass knuckles was kind of stupid, but I've seen worse. I will say, man, I fucking despise Logan Paul as a human being, but that kid can go. That kid is a wrestler. He is such an athlete. He looks so good in that ring. He looks so comfortable. And I usually like heels. I hate him for the person that he is. But the person that he is aside, the kid fucking gets it, man. Everyone was like, oh, Ronda Rousey gets it. Ronda Rousey's so great. Logan Paul is running circles around what Ronda Rousey was doing. He is. He's just magnificent in the ring. And I genuinely really enjoy watching him. I just hate him. And I'm sticking with it. I still think he loses that U.S. title to LA Knight at WrestleMania. That was my prediction a long time ago, and I'm sticking with it. And then the men's Rumble, like I said, I thought it was fine. My only real disappointment was there was no surprises other than the Pat McAfee thing, which was stupid. It was fine. It was fine. We all knew it was going to come down to Cody, Punk, or maybe Gunther. Gunther had been my pick for months. I thought Gunther would win and end up going title for title with Cody Rhodes. Or pardon me, with Seth Rollins at WrestleMania. He still could. He didn't win the Rumble, but he could still go to WrestleMania with Seth, which I'd be fine with. I'd love to see that. I personally would love to see Gunther beat Seth for the title in WrestleMania and still have his Intercontinental title and then have both. I think that'd be fucking, because I just think Gunther's awesome. I enjoyed the back and forth between Cody and Punk when they were the final two. And I thought Cody would win, but I was like, maybe Punk? Until Punk said, I didn't come back to lose to the son of a plumber or something, whatever it was he said. Once he said that, it was like, Cody's about to win this. And he did. It's pretty hard to not like Cody Rhodes. I usually don't like baby faces, and I like Cody Rhodes. And the 2-month buildup now between now and WrestleMania for him and Roman should be money. And I'm interested to see what they do with Punk. Because it could be Seth, although I'd still rather watch Seth fight Gunther. It could be Drew McIntyre. I'm not saying it'll happen, but for years there's just been like hey, Punk and Austin would love to work with each other. I would love to see Punk and Austin at WrestleMania 40. I'm not saying it'll happen, but I don't think it's impossible. I would love to see it. So the right man won. I'm glad Cody won. I would have rather Cody or Gunther won than CM Punk. So overall, it was okay. I would probably rank it like in the middle of all the Rumbles if I was ranking all of them. It wasn't like the best night of wrestling I've ever watched, but I didn't walk away angry or anything. It was fine. So good for Cody. And then obviously at the end of the Rumble, we had the presser where people were asking Triple H about the Vince McMahon situation, and Triple H was saying, "I'm not thinking about that. I'm trying to focus on the positives," which I thought was a horrible answer. I'm 100% sure that Triple H wasn't allowed to talk about it due to legal reasons and lawyer advice and stuff. He should have just said that. I know it's a lame, like when the first time Vince came up, all he had to say was like, "Hey, I understand why you all have questions. We are taking this incredibly seriously. We are investigating it right now. On the advice of our lawyers, though, due to it being an ongoing investigation, I'm not allowed to comment on it right now." And that's all we would have had to say instead of kind of sweeping it under the rug and being like, well, we're trying to focus on the positives. I thought that was a really bad look. Obviously, this whole situation is fucked. Listen, if you don't know what I'm talking about, I don't even really want to get into all the details. Vince McMahon is a piece of shit and a pervert. And there's like sex trafficking and stuff. Just look it up. Look it up. There's countless stories. Excuse me, I'm going to hydrate here. I'm really dry today. There's countless stories online breaking it all down. I'm a staunch, diehard, ride or die, pride from my cold dead hands believer in innocent until proven guilty. For the very reason that, like, if you or I was ever accused of something like what Vince McMahon is being accused of, and you didn't do it, you would expect to be treated as innocent until guilty until you are found guilty. You would expect an opportunity to defend yourself. And I think Vince McMahon deserves an opportunity to defend himself. But I would be willing to lay a pretty substantial sum on the outcome of that trial. Like, he clearly, I don't think there's any doubt in anybody's mind he did this. It's not like Vince McMahon has been an upstanding citizen his whole life that has earned the benefit of the doubt. He's clearly a piece of shit. We all knew he was a piece of shit. This makes him look like the biggest piece of shit. And he's been removed from the company, as he should be. And he should go to prison. If he goes to trial and it's obvious that he did this, he should be in prison. John Laurinaitis should be in prison. Brock Lesnar, I don't know. This is where I mean when I say I believe in innocent until guilty. I don't know what all these men have done. But if all the accusations are accurate, they're all fucked. It's absolutely disgusting. And anyone involved and anyone that knew this and covered it up, they should have the book thrown at them too. And that includes Triple H, who has done a great job running this company. And I have a hard time believing that he didn't know about any of this, being Triple H. If you tried to cover it up, I think it's, for those of you outside of Canada, I don't know if you're aware of what's going on with Team Canada right now, but a bunch of players are currently looking at charges for sexually assaulting a young lady back in, I think, 2008 or 18. I don't remember. Maybe it was 18. I think it was 2018. But now the book's starting to get thrown at them, and it turns out a lot of people at Team Canada were covering it up, and their heads should all fucking roll too. It's just disgusting, and it's just like, I tried to write a joke in my act once when the Me Too movement was really big about how men aren't allowed to be perverted pigs anymore. And my point from the joke was going to be like, when were we allowed to be like this? And I could never make the joke work. It's a pretty hard topic to make jokes about, but I do genuinely believe that. Like, I see these stories. Like, listen, have I gotten drunk and hit on girls before and stuff? Yeah, I probably have. I've probably made an ass of myself a couple of times, but I've never grabbed somebody. I've never done anything like that. I've never done revenge porn or any of this other fucking shit. I don't know why men, and listen, and the other thing about it is, like, Shaylee and I were talking about this last night. There are women out there being predators too. There are women, preying on their students as teachers and stuff like that. But I don't think it gets talked about nearly as much for 3 reasons. Number one, it's not anywhere near as frequent as men being the pervs that they are. Number two, it's not a sexist thing. It's a statement. Women are more vulnerable from a physical standpoint than men are. And so of course there's going to be more victims and all that kind of stuff. And number 3, every time a female teacher comes out and it turns out that they've been banging their students, the same people that are like, why aren't more women being called out for this, are the ones being like, nice, that's a hot teacher. And so it's like, you can't have it both ways. If an older male teacher sleeps with like a 15-year-old female student, no one's going to be like, nice, that guy was hot. Like, they're going to be like, fuck him. And then it should be the same way both ways. And when it comes, and I'm not trying to deflect this toward women abusers need to have the book thrown at them too. I'm saying all abusers need to have the fucking book thrown at them. And I don't know why we as a society have decided that it's just okay for so long. I don't get that. I'm 40. I didn't grow up in the 70s, and I was a little kid in the 80s. I've realistically been looking at women as from hey, I'm attracted to this person since probably about the mid 90s. I've never felt like I was entitled to do something like that. I've never been in a position of power, but if I ever was, I can't imagine that I would be like, hey, I'll book you on this show, but only if you send these pics to my friend, and then we'll have some text about what we'd like to do to you. And it's so fucked up. And like, Vince McMahon has ruined his entire legacy over 1 week. Like, his legacy of building, like, I would not be a wrestling fan without Vince McMahon. I guarantee you most of you wrestling fans wouldn't be wrestling fans without Vince McMahon. He's the reason pro wrestling is what it is today. He is the person. You don't have to like it. He is the person. But it doesn't matter. Bill Cosby was one of the greatest comedians of all time, and he is fucked. And no, I cannot find a comedian worth their weight that have any interest in defending Bill Cosby. And I think wrestling fans need to feel the same way about Vince McMahon when it comes to this. Again, I'm going to let this trial play out, but I'm sitting here right now being like, I would be shocked, genuinely shocked, if you were able to present some evidence that would prove to me that you are not the disgusting sack of shit that you're being portrayed as right now. I would be genuinely shocked. So, people that keep asking me what my opinion is on it, I think it's fucking disgusting. I don't even like reading the stories. I think we as a species should be fucking better to each other. We're all just humans. Everyone's got a daughter. Everyone's got a sister, a mom, an aunt, a friend, a something, a wife. Just stop. Like, why are humans so fucking selfish and ignorant? It disgusts me. Humanity fucking disgusts me. And this is a prime example. And I'm going to let the trial play out, and I'll be sitting right there with the book waiting to fucking throw it at him once this is done. That said, he's a billionaire who looks like he's almost dead. I wouldn't be surprised if his lawyers manage to tie this up in court until he is dead and he never faces his day in jail or anything. But everyone that covered this up needs to be done. I don't care. You have a new company in charge now, but I guarantee you can find somebody to run this fucking company. And as much as I love the job that Triple H has done as a booker over the last couple of years, if he knew about this and covered it up, and again, I'm not going to sit here and hang the man right now. I'll wait to find out. I'd be genuinely shocked if he didn't, but I'll wait and find out. If he knew, then fuck him too. It's disgusting. So fuck you, Vince. You're fucking disgusting. Anyway, that's it. That is it for a very all over the map, very long Rambling Idiot podcast. Thank you all so much for listening, everybody. As always, I appreciate you. And I'll be back tomorrow with Remember the Game 284, where we will finally be reviewing Donkey Kong Country 3, baby. Enjoy that. Enjoy this. Enjoy the rest of your day, evening, whatever time it is where you are. And enjoy Gabbo insulting you. Gabbo, do the thing.
And
where the fuck are you?
And cut.
Gabbo?
That ought to hold the little SOBs. Gabbo, quiet. Oh, I wouldn't want to offend the little SOBs.
Oh, I don't think I could hear it through my headphones. God damn it. I couldn't either. Whatever. Fuck you, Gabbo. Fuck you. Good enough.